You are watching the MAPS Wellness Room. I'm your host, Miata Clark. Join me weekly for dynamic guests, tips, and advice. Most of all, positive energy. And remember, my friend, you have power. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome. It is 2022. I hope that you had a safe and great new year. This is Miata Clark, your host for the MAPS Wellness Room. And I am pleased to be here with Catriona. And her and I just got finished chatting before we started. And oh my goodness, you guys, you have to meet her. She's an author, she's a speaker, and her story is very, very, very inspiring. And some of you may be able to relate. But the whole purpose of it is for us to understand that there are other people going through some really traumatic things and how we're able to get through it. The point of the show is to make sure, especially now, that we take care of our mental wellness and to invite people on that can help us through that. So welcome and thank you for being here all the way from Ireland. I appreciate it. I enjoyed speaking with you pre-recording, and so I know that our guest will definitely enjoy speaking with you. So can you let everyone know who you are and a little bit about your story?
Yeah, thank you for having me here as well. Yep, bit of a backwards and forwards story, because a lot of my aha moments and understandings came right at the end of the journey, much as I hate the word journey. Um, so yeah, in 2014, I was working in schools, mainstream schools, with special needs children, and I loved that job. And I thought I would still have been there, to be honest, at this stage of my life. But in 2014, then I was diagnosed with thyroid with cancer in thyroid, and so that threw me a curveball. Yeah, and I worked right up in between hospital appointments, and then I had a procedure because I found a second lump. The second lump was getting sore. So they said, right, okay, we'll take that out, because the initial one they said was it just looked, there was a lump. They said it was fine, we'll keep an eye on it. Right. And when the second one showed up and was becoming sore, they said, we'll do a procedure, we'll remove that one. So they did that, and it came back that it was cancerous. Right. Okay. So that's when I said, right, okay, I'm going to work right up from this procedure to thyroidectomy that they scheduled for me. And I worked right up, and then in May, I came out of work, and a few days later went for my full thyroidectomy. And that was just a few days before my birthday. So I had my full thyroidectomy, which thankfully went really well, no complications. Then I stayed in for a while. And the whole way through, I've been thinking, right, I will get through all this. I'll get through all this because I need to go to this wedding in Italy that I've been invited to. And so that went really well. I got out and I said, okay, you really need to get in the ball, guys, because the next step was for me to go for radioactive iodine treatment. And basically what that does is you get this small little capsule, and the radioactive just blasts everything that's in your throat. Because I had to go on a diet where there was low iodine, and the body needs that. So with the capsule having radioactive iodine, the body sucks it up and blasts any little microscopic bits away. Wow. So that was successful. It was a difficult patch because it was isolation in the hospital ward, right? And I couldn't go near anybody. Yeah. And I got home and I couldn't go near my kids. I couldn't go near anybody for another couple of days. But got that out of the way, and I was over the moon then. I thought, yay, I could go to Italy, and I had an absolute blast over there. I really did, the best weekend. Yeah. And I must be honest, to me, in my head at that time, I was fine. back on track. It's all good. And I got home and everything just hit me. Who am I? A
Yeah.
total loss of identity. It was, right, I'm not Catriona that works in the school. I'm not Catriona, oh, she's got cancer right now.
Mhm.
Who am I? And I had no idea what to say, do, to
Mhm.
be. I felt like what I described as was like my entire face had just fallen off. I just felt like there was no emotion, no smiles, nothing.
Mhm.
And I went along with that for quite a while,
Mhm.
and I began self-harming, and I was suicidal and did try to take my life at one point. And I was so, so lucky. I went to see my doctor who'd seen me through the whole experience, and he was amazing. He never ran out of tissues for me.
Right.
And one of the days, he said to me, Catriona, you've got some difficult conversations you need to have. And at the time, I had no clue what he meant. I was actually just walking out the door when he stopped me to say, and well, what do you mean? He said, well, you've some difficult conversations to have, starting with your mum. No idea what I was supposed to be saying at
Mhm.
all. Because at the time, I thought, right, everybody can see here. I'm not coping. In my head, everybody knew
Right.
what was going on with me, so I didn't need to verbalize it.
Right.
So I walked home that day, and it's only a 5-minute walk from our doctor's. And what am I going to say? How am I going to even say to them, look, can we sit down and have a chat?
Right.
Uh, I've got a really good relationship with my mum every day. Right, it's the kettle hot. And we'll be up at each other's houses and just chat, drink coffee.
Right.
And she phoned me not long after this appointment and said, right, okay, kettle hot? Yeah, it is. So I'll just pop down then. And I said, look, Mummy, I need you to sit down. And so I told her what was happening. You know, I'm not coping. I'm self-harming. And the whole, I can't exactly remember because it all fell out. So a lot of tears, a lot of hugging. And then, excuse me, then my husband came home later
Mhm.
and similar conversation with him.
Mhm.
So the upshot of that was it was really hard to do,
Mhm.
was I knew that I had a support team,
Right.
whereas before I'd felt so, so lonely.
Mhm.
I hadn't had a clue what I was doing. Nobody, even though I felt, oh, everybody knows I'm not coping, and nobody to talk to.
Mhm.
I didn't feel I could express myself to anybody, and I
Mhm.
didn't even know what to say. So all of a sudden I thought, right, okay, wow, I've got this support team, and they may not have known exactly how I felt,
Mhm.
but they could see if
Right.
they thought she's having an off day,
Mhm.
or I could then, after quite a while, I became more comfortable to say, do you know what, this isn't a good day,
Right.
or I've actually just gone and done X, Y, or Z,
Right.
um, and that kind of allowed them to step in. And what I've always said is, I believe that all my turning this round, the
Mhm.
resilience, was due to vulnerability.
Mhm.
Um, so like having the courage, despite all the risks and the what ifs,
Mhm.
to first look inside myself, be really open and honest with myself, and then to be vulnerable enough to have those conversations.
Right.
So, and then, like I say, all of a sudden I wasn't alone.
Mhm.
And it was very much about really being vulnerable enough to tell people what was going on. Um, I'm happy to say right now, there's been a lot of work to do it.
Mhm.
but I'm in the best place now, and I've called cancer the worst but the best thing to
That
happen to me.
Yeah. And I venture to say that a lot of times we don't know our own strength until something like this happens, unfortunately. And it shows us that we have that willpower, and it also shows us that at those very moments, those are the moments that we have to be most vulnerable. We have to let people in. We have to, sit with ourselves and figure out, our next steps. And
Mm.
I know that each of us has that strength in us, and we have to pull it out some way. So going through all of that, what advice would you give to those that are, maybe not necessarily struggling with cancer, but something similar, or maybe they are, or just in general when you talk about, your mental wellness and how you need to approach situations like that that tend to be very heavy and life changing. Like what advice would you give?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things combined that help me.
Mhm,
One, I truly believe is being vulnerable enough with myself
mhm.
to admit something wrong here and I
Yeah.
need to ask for help. I think the next really big one was
Mhm.
actually accepting the help, and that can be so difficult for us, for all of us. It was for me.
Yeah.
Um, so actually accepting that help. But I think before and actually after I, reached out to people and asked for help,
Mhm,
I found myself a focus. And for me, it was baking.
mhm,
And I taught myself to bake anything and everything I could.
mhm.
I taught myself to make chocolates and hand painted chocolates and truffles. And
Yeah.
in the end, I opened the business. Um, so I do think you do have to find something to focus your mind on, to
Mhm.
take it away from the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say as well, so important, don't let that become your crux, because that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
It became a crux. And then it took me a little while before I sort of stepped back but stopped and realized, no, do it for the joy of it,
Mhm,
not to bury yourself and ignore everything.
mhm,
So it would actually really, because I already loved baking, and I would advise anybody to get that focus, yes, and it can be baking, it can be walking, it could be, drawing.
mhm,
And but I would advise you to find something that isn't something you're ready to do
mhm. And enjoy
just
it. Yeah.
just for pleasure,
Yes.
because you run that risk of it, like myself, became a
Mhm,
crux, a way to escape and ignore everything else,
right.
not dealing with it.
Mhm,
So yeah, that was one thing, was have that focus
mhm,
and something where you can, preferably to me, something creative, have an
mhm,
outlet. Also, and now to me this is a bit controversial in a way almost, uh, get out into nature, walk. The reason I say it's controversial is because about 6 years ago, I think I would have said to you, but I can't, because for 4.5, 5 years, I couldn't leave the house. And it made me so cross inside when people said, oh, I get into nature, because I couldn't. I used to get so angry, and I would get angry at myself.
mhm.
And so I think, yeah, if you can do it, that is my advice. Go out, get into nature, but don't think, right, okay, if you're in the awful position, because I know it's horrible and it's so debilitating to not be able to bring yourself to cross the threshold,
Yeah.
don't beat yourself up about it. Don't, well, it's easy to say,
Yeah.
but try to do what I do, what I call reframing, which is see it from a different angle, different,
Mhm.
perspective, and think, right, okay, I can't do that right now. And I love the word yet. I can't do that yet,
Right.
because it means one day I will.
Yeah.
And then what can I do now
Right.
instead of that? because it could be that you do steps on the stairs. It
Mhm.
could be, that you do yoga on the Wii Fit, or it could be you decide, right, I'm going to draw, I'm going to bake, I'm going to teach myself a new skill. But I suppose the main point of it is a focus.
Mhm.
Find something you enjoy doing and do that in a balanced way so that you're not obsessing over
Right.
it. I suppose in a nutshell
Right.
is that particular
Right.
advice. Another thing that I found really key was to journal.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me at one stage, but how do you journal? I don't know what to write. And it doesn't matter. It
Mhm.
doesn't make sense. It just fell onto the page. You couldn't
Mhm.
read it for years. You couldn't have actually read it because
Right.
the Bible was kind of like my head was. And that's another one, journaling, but reflect on your journals. You know, why did I feel that way, or what can I do about that? That sort of thing. So those are some of the things. In the book that's coming out later this year, I've
Mhm.
actually got techniques at the back of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, I look forward to your book. I will definitely put all of your links in the description. I truly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Again, like I said, it's very inspirational, and I know that people will definitely be able to relate and take something from it. And again, thank you for joining us all the way from Ireland. I appreciate it. And thank you to the guests and the audiences. And we will see you next time on another episode of The Wellness Room. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely.
Bye. And bye to your cat. He's so cute.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be a guest here on the MAPS Wellness Room, email us at themapswellnessroom@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm sending light, love, and power.